Jen. I have 3 cards to share with you guys today. So I'll talk a little bit about each one and the products that I used. This first one is for my daughter's girlfriend. They're graduating from high school today, and we have her party right after graduation. So I did a watercolored card and then made this vellum envelope. And I like how you can see the watercoloring through the front of the envelope. So for this card, I used 2 Alti-New stamp sets. I used a wild hibiscus, and I used a few of the flowers, and then I used the stem from this flower here just to add stems to flowers that didn't have them. And I used the painted greetings, congratulations. So I stamped everything in watering can archival ink, which is a dark gray, and then I used the Prima watercolor confections and didn't do real specific watercoloring. I just dropped color in and then dropped in another layer on top of it. I watercolored the background and the edges and then just did a little bit of splattering and used a little bit of Wink of Stella on the congratulations and on the centers of the flower. And this has a double layer of black cardstock. And then on the inside, I used a set of washis. They're these ones here. I think they were the Boho washis from Michael's. But I just liked how they coordinated in the same colors as the front. So I layered those all in there. And just really like the way that that came out. So that is card number 1. Card number 2, I used these 2 flower dies. And I think those may be paper smooches. I'm not 100% sure. If I can find, I don't have the packaging, but if I can find it in my receipts, I will add a note in here. And so I watercolored a piece of paper, you know, just kind of splotched on the flowers. I wasn't crazy about how the watercoloring came out on this, but I used it anyway, and I cut out the dies and just layered them on top of there. And then when everything had dried, I ran it through with a large polka dot embossing folder. And I really like how the embossing is all over everything. So even the flowers and the die cuts have the raised dots on there. And then for this little frame border, I used my rectangle stitch dies and just offset the center one inside the outer one, and then used a Martha Stewart punch on this little background piece of paper. So all in all, pretty simple. Put a little Wink of Stella around the edges, and this is gray Paper Source cardstock. Just cut another flower to put on the inside. And then the third card I made with this sticker set. I'm really not a sticker person, but I was at our local bookstore and I saw these. There's the company name. I had not seen them before. But there's pretty much everything you see on here are stickers, even like all these little flowers. Some of them are flat, and then other ones are raised up with like a little glossy bubble finish. So they are super cute. And so I made this card here with those, and you can see the gloss on the stickers. And so for the background of this one, I used these like wooden stamps. I had picked these up at Hobby Lobby over in the section where you would buy fabric paint. And I know Michael's also carries some of these over in the craft section. They are more difficult to stamp with ink. They're really made more for paint. They work great with acrylic paints. But for the paisley one, I did use some green distress ink. And then for the flower, I used some color box ink. And so you kind of get that little faded distress look. Once I colored the background with the green or stamped it, I did take a fine mist of water and kind of just sprayed it to activate the distressed ink just a little bit. which just kind of helped it, you know, blend the color in a little bit. And then I made the little shelves to put the little flower pots on. And what I did was I took a piece of vellum, so the little stickers are stuck to the vellum, but the vellum goes all the way behind the cardstock. So I adhered that to the cardstock and then adhered the whole thing to the card. And that is stuck on there really pretty well. And then this is a button here that had a pretty big shank on the back, so I cut a hole in my papers, and then I raised up the front part on a piece of fun foam. So the fun foam is cut just a tiny bit smaller than this rectangle, and then I punched a hole where the shank of the button is in the fun foam as well, and the height was absolutely perfect because then the shank of the button was flat with the fun foam and then just adhered that all to the card base. And this one has a pretty simple inside. Just use a Martha Stewart punch to have the coordinating flowers on the inside. And this is on green Paper Source cardstock, and I happen to have the matching envelope for that. So that's all I have for today. Things are starting to wind up here. We've been through Anya's showcase. Her dance showcase was last weekend. We had prom. We've had graduations today. We have graduation party. We have an outing this weekend, and then Mia's graduation party coming up. And then Anya's leaving for quite a while to go dance for the summer. So things are winding up, and I'm having a little bit more time in my craft room, which is really nice. So you guys have a great rest of the week and weekend, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye-bye.